Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to yet another Confidence Leads to Success interview series with me, Elif Köse. I have been enjoying this, and this is our day 4, and I don't want it to end. It has been such a great fun having wonderful women in their field. They are successful. They are empowering others and inspiring them and helping them achieve their goals. Let it be health, let it be wellness, let it be influencing, writing, and fashion and everything. So today I have the pleasure of having Melanie Falick from. She's just joining us, and she was just telling me how warm it is there. She's an independent writer, editor, and creative director. And she's the author of most recently launched Making a Life book. And this is how I discovered her, actually. And I am a bit of a stalker, and I watch some of her videos on YouTube. I just fall in love with her and her perseverance and how she's so determined to help other women to follow their dreams and bring into life. So hi Melanie, welcome.
Hi, thanks. It's good to see you.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. All's good here in New York.
New York. Oh, I love New York.
Yeah.
I've been there quite a few times, and here you go. I'm going to spotlight you, and I'll come next to you so you can be together. So tell our audience about you, how you started, and I love what you do, and your book, and how did you come up with the idea, and what made you start it?
Okay. Well, the book is Making a Life, Working by Hand and Discovering the Life You're Meant to Live. So yeah. um, and I think it's really a culmination of, or not a culmination of, but like a bringing together of sort of my personal life and my professional life in a kind of holistic way, so that I think they're merged in the best way, where what I am doing with my time, both personally and professionally, is in sync with what I love and what I value. And so for me, throughout my life, I've loved to do handwork of different types and sort of creative expression generally. And I guess I should say all my life. I did handwork when I was a kid a bit, but I didn't really indulge in it that much. But as an adult, knitting and sewing and gardening and learning how to fix things, those are things that give me great confidence, or confidence, I should
Creating.
say. Really
Yeah,
embodied
creating.
experiences where I am sort of taking care of myself, my family, my environment with my own sort of skills and creativity. But professionally, for many years, I've worked in publishing, and most of the time I was working on books that were about craft and creativity. So knitting, sewing, quilting, pottery, embroidery. Did I work on any woodworking? I think I did. All sorts of books. And for 13 years, 12 years, I worked at a New York publishing house called Abrams, and I had an imprint, and we put out a whole lot of books. And what started out as a dream job, you sort of evolved, and then I was kind of ready to leave and not sure what I wanted to do. And so I took a leap and kind of left, knowing that I needed to kind of get off of that treadmill and live more in sync with sort of my inner self, as opposed to working in an environment where we were just kind of churning out books. I cared about the substance and the quality, and the company as a whole did, but
You are a bit perfectionist, aren't you? You always look at the details. I've seen one of your videos where you're talking about and looking at every detail, and I
yeah,
didn't realize how much hard work goes into creating books. And it's not just, I mean, writing a book in itself is hard enough, or even having the idea of what to write, and then actually putting it together and deciding what artwork goes in there and where it goes. I didn't realize how hard it is.
it's a lot of work. I mean, I don't think anybody who writes a book ever expects it to be as much work as it turns out to be. And would say, even for myself personally, I had written a few books many years ago, and then I was publishing other people's books for many years. And then I went back to writing my own book, which is what happened after I left Abrams. And it was more work than I expected. And,
Even though you were in the business, you still found, this is great to hear, because I find this so difficult at the moment.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, it has to be something you're passionate about. And for me, the book Making a Life is something that I feel like has sort of changed or altered the trajectory of my life, because I feel like it gave me the opportunity to really clarify like what is essential to me, what my definitions of happiness and success are, and how, when I'm clear on those things, I'm able to sort of make decisions about how I'm going to spend my time, how I'm going to spend my resources, and really gives me a consciousness that whereby I can stop myself when I'm getting kind of, what's the word, carried away by outside influences like social media or just cultural messages about materialism and consumerism, about what success is, what happiness is. And for me, someone said to me recently, like, what makes you the happiest? And, outside of, friends and family being healthy and, feeling good and all of that, I would say spending time with my friends, making stuff, being creative, learning things from each other, fixing things, not making things just to sort of have lots of things, but more like right now.
Consciously.
Right, yeah, like I'm learning pottery because I want to make dishes and bowls for my family. I'm learning to be a better sewist, learning sewing. I'm making a dress. My friend and I have been getting together and working on it. In the past, people would make things because they had to. They didn't have access to, all sorts of stores, and it was less expensive. Now, obviously, it's a privilege and something that, takes usually more money and a lot of time. And so I feel fortunate that I can afford to buy the materials. And I actually am glad that it takes a lot of time. The messages we get is like faster, more.
I know. I'm so pleased. So you're in the same thing. I'm so against this fast fashion and consumerism and how easily people have become so disposable when they dispose of clothing, they dispose of materials, and it kind of, this habit of disposing so easily seems to turn into how they dispose of their people around them. It affects mentally. So I love that you like that slow fashion, and taking time and enjoying creating something is so important.
Yeah, I mean, I've really found, and it's not, I mean, obviously, I really embrace the slow fashion movement for lots of reasons, personal and environmental. But I actually really, I feel like I just like slowing down everything. And I realized that when I'm able to mentally switch a flick in my head and not rush,
yes,
that I enjoy all sorts of things. I enjoy washing the dishes. I enjoy sweeping the floor. I enjoy weeding. I'm not going to say that I want to spend all day, every day doing those things, but I think that
it shouldn't be perceived as this chore. It's still something that you're creating, you're fulfilling, doing something whilst you're doing these tasks that for you, it's not like,
and I really feel like it's the physicality of a lot of things that are really engaging for me, and this embodied experience of whatever I'm doing. And when you think about our computers and our phones, everything, we move our fingers or we swipe things and press buttons, but it's all sort of there but not there. And I think that you could have whole days and evenings of that. You can spend your whole day on your screens for work, and then you can spend your evening on your screens.
It's that mindfulness, isn't it? Whilst you're creating something, at the end of the day, you're going to have something to show. It's so important. I've just been beading, these bird shapes for one of my brides. As you know, I'm a fashion designer. So I had made this wedding dress slash evening dress with lots of birds. It was like a magical dress with stars and lots of shooting stars on it. It's so magical
Wow.
and romantic, and it had birds on the shoulders. But her business is all about angels, so we decided to put more birds at the back, but like angel wings. And I've been beading these little birds, and like everything, every time I put some more time in it, this something comes out. That create thing, it's so fulfilling, isn't it?
Yeah, and that process of just quieting down and slowing
Yeah,
down and doing something, I always say I like repetitive, monotonous things. Like there's something grounding about that. And when you think about like meditation and yoga and mantras, it really is about that kind of grounding. And I think
exactly.
handwork offers that to us in a package that maybe is easier to embrace in your life than a daily meditation practice, or maybe can be sort of part of that.
Exactly. I'm so pleased you're telling me all this because I like slow fashion, and I like being able I like to promote more of people should do more things with their hands. I remember at the beginning of the first lockdown, I've made a little film about how you can make your own masks at home,
Mhm.
because I know everybody was so bored, everybody had to wear a mask, everybody was worried, and I remember one of my friends told me, you could have made them and make loads of money and sell them. I said, it's not about making money. I just want to create an environment. I want to give that inspiration to people that they can do it too. You don't have to have full skills that I have. I mean, I'm a skillful designer and dressmaker and a pattern maker. I've equipped myself with a lot of skills, but being able to share that with other people, because they're all locked down in their house, and create something that they can actually wear. And the way I created was that helped them create it at home was like, you don't need to have a sewing machine. You don't have to have everything. You can just chop the trousers that you don't wear. You can use your old bra straps as elastics, and it
Right.
was just, and you won't believe how many comments and emails and thank you messages I received. It kept
Right. Well,
people
I think
busy.
handwork is a pathway to wellness, and just the way we try to eat healthy food, for our nutrition, the health of our bodies, and we exercise for strength and flexibility. We're not, I'm not going to be an Olympic athlete, but yet I still exercise, and I'm not going to be a really like you, a couturier, but
Yeah,
that doesn't mean that there's not value to me sewing. There is, and it's about my personal wellness. And I feel like, I think if you can look at handwork that way and get out of like, how long did it take? How much would you sell it for? It's like,
yeah,
well, it's a really long time and I loved it, and it's not for sale. Although I might, choose
yeah.
to give it to someone. But that's not my goal.
Yeah,
And it
you're
has,
not pushing people to rush and create more and sell it, and it's not about that.
well, and it's also
What
not
I'm
about,
hearing, that calming and grounding and owning your pace and space is giving you confidence. That's what I'm hearing. Is that what you would say?
yeah, I mean, it just gives you a sense of wellness. I mean, it gives you a sense of confidence. It
Yes.
gives you a connection to your materials, and which hopefully are natural materials that, ultimately come from the earth. And it gives you a connection to other makers, past and present. It roots you in really our common humanity. I mean, we are wired to be makers, to be creative. Making by hand was how people survived for, hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of years, yeah.
And it's only, in the history of human beings, it's only a really short time that we've had kind of machines to do things
Last
for us.
last 50 years probably has been, it's been real push, and but in the last, I would say About last, maybe this is when I realized what's happening. In the last 4 or 5 years, people have become more conscious. And since the COVID, I think a lot of people are aware of what's happening, and a lot of people are aware of that fast fashion, consumerism, not just fashion, fast of everything. People have paced down, and it's that
Well, I
that
think that our
mentality has
world,
to change.
the world moves so fast, and all of these things that are supposedly making our lives easier or better or more convenient are
Yeah,
actually just putting us on like a treadmill. Like, the
yeah,
way that the economy, we're told it works is if we like buy, spend, like everything is, that doesn't make us feel good. And the idea of like convenience, or like we used to be in my work, I was working freelance, and we had FedEx, so like sometimes you had to get something done and into the FedEx box, like, oh, can you have that to me tomorrow? Like now people email you or text you, or they want it in the next 5 minutes.
I
Because I
know.
think our machinery, we're not machines, and
Yeah.
we can't operate at that pace, but yet we're constantly pushing ourselves to do that, and thinking that somehow we're going to like keep up with that. But I think people are realizing like, I need to get off this ride. Like it's making me dizzy, and it's
A
making me
lot
not.
of people, there is a lot of education needs to be done around that. But what happens is, I've noticed also that there is this expectation of want everything yesterday, not even tomorrow or today,
Right, or 5
yesterday.
minutes yesterday.
They want to order something and they just say, "What do you mean you can't send it in 3 days?" And you think, "I'm sorry, but I cannot." And I think what happened is just to create these perfect customer service to the people, to the public. What it ended up being is these business centers, big malls, and big supermarkets. If you're not there, there's always somebody. If you're ill, there's always somebody. So that's what's happened is it's built an impatient emotion in us. We are so impatient. We want it now. It can't wait. It's so
Right, but
annoying.
the thing is, like, we think that like we're somehow like, it's like there's this setting inside of us that it got set to like fast forward. But I think we have to consciously say like, no, like I don't want to be on fast forward. It doesn't, when you order something and it comes like right away, like you get that serotonin rush, you open the box and it's depleted so fast. And then if that's what you're relying on, that quick service, that getting what you want when you want it or before you want it, then you just always have to keep feeding that. But if you slow yourself down and you actually like embody the moment, enjoy the moment, you can find more satisfaction just like right where you are internally. I mean, the introduction to my book, the title of it is Keep Looking at Your Hands. And just this idea, as a maker, you can keep looking at your hands as tools for making things, but really the idea of like so many of the things that we're looking for outside of ourselves,
Yes,
the answers are actually inside of ourselves.
that's so right. We seem to be looking outside rather than start from inside out. That's
Right.
so
It's
good.
just like posting something on Instagram and then wanting like all that outside approval.
Yes.
Just always thinking like you need somebody else to tell you you're good enough, as opposed to cultivating a strong sense of self.
It's so true. I'm going to tell you something as you were talking about these next day delivery and all these. We were talking about having our website, my fashion business website, updated. And this advisor was telling me that we need to have a next day delivery and free returns for everything that we sell. And I said to him, "It's impossible for me to do next day delivery. I'm a mother and I don't have 5 people working in my small business. Even if I did, I don't want to do next day delivery and free returns, because what ends up happening, people order more than they need. And they want it tomorrow. If it doesn't go tomorrow, because they put so much hopes on that delivery, whatever reason they're organizing, so they're leaving everything to last minute. because they want to put everything. It's almost like going into supermarket and filling your trolley in case something is going to run out. And I said, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to do that. And
No,
it says on my website, it's 2 to 3 working days delivery. We actually usually do it on the day, but I don't want to put that pressure on me, and I don't want to put the hopes of my clients, customers who want to purchase my products. And I think if everybody applies that to, like now, when you shop on Amazon, I mean, I had days it arrived on the same day.
I know.
I literally had paid, and 2 hours later, the delivery was at the door. It was like, wow.
And that's not going to go away. And there are times when, that works. There is a place for that in our lives, I guess. But what I don't understand is this expectation that everything should be that way. And I think
Yes.
that it's based in a model that just says more is better, faster is better. And that's a model that I don't agree with.
Yeah. It's well, it is happening. I mean, there is no right or wrong in everything. We all have our own opinions, and like you say, there is a space for having the next day deliveries, but having to put these amounts of stress for creators, especially if you're a creator, if you want to make something from scratch and want to make that a special piece, whatever you are doing, art, let it be artwork, let it be knitwear, let it be. You can't rush certain things. You
Right.
can't.
And I think, when you don't rush, when you take the time to do something well and feel good about the process, that is imbued in what you're making. And, it isn't something, that is easy to describe in words, but I'm sure when you sew something beautifully and then you hold that object or you hand it to the person and they put it on, they can feel that. They can feel that energy in it. And I think that there are people, who maybe are more sort of straight arrows, they would say, oh, that's sort of these like creative types who, think that a dress has energy or something. But I think that it's just a sensibility that some people are in touch with and some people aren't. But when you are in touch with it, you certainly are in touch with it as a maker. And then I think you want to, the customers that should be your customers are the ones that can feel it.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Well, I'm going to ask you something. If so, if you were to explain confidence to people on our audience, what tip you would tell them? What does confidence mean to you, and your tip on it, and when you least feel confident in your life? Like, when is that least moment that you feel confident but you do it anyway?
Okay, well, I think confidence is about having a strong core, like really figuring out, like, as best you can. I mean, it's always evolving, but like who you are, what does success mean to you? What does happiness mean to you? What is enough for you? And, trying to, I think you develop confidence when you are living in keeping with those beliefs and values. So, for me, confidence is connected, that's what it is. Like, without a strong core, if you're going into a meeting and you don't truly believe what you're going to say, like in your heart, it's hard sometimes to feel confident, at least for me, about it. Then I'm putting on a show that's sort of outside of me. But obviously there are times in life, many times, where like I'm in a situation where, I don't feel fully confident, and, some people say
do it.
make it, you just have to like try, not be, and not be, I think, be kind to yourself and be your own sort of best
It's almost
friend.
like give yourself a chance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Give yourself
I mean, I think a lot of times as women, we're so mean to ourselves. Our inner voice is cruel.
Very.
more
You
critical.
are not enough, constantly saying you are not enough.
I know, and our culture sends that message to women. So, I would say be your own friend, which is probably like, for me, sometimes the hardest thing, and surround yourself with true friends
Love it.
who believe in you. And when you need help because you have something you need to do that you're not confident in, or you have a question that you don't know how to answer, figure out who, call upon your friends, or have the courage to kind of call upon a stranger and say, like, I have this question. And I always say to my son, like a lot of things in life, it's about figuring out who to ask for help. And pretty much everything takes a village. And so not being afraid to ask for help, not being, and then be,
It's a lot of the entrepreneurs' common trait, I think, is that the fear of asking for help as if it's the weakness. But actually, we forgot that asking for help is always going to empower you. And obviously, you can't ask for help to everyone. It's got to be the right person. And if you surround yourself with people who believe in you, no matter what you do and how you do it, they will always want the best for you. I think that's very important, and that builds confidence in my case. And a lot of the times that I lost my confidence or I got quiet, I have these friends that would check on me saying, "You've been quiet lately. Is everything okay?" And that they are the kind of people you want to keep in your life.
Yeah. One thing I noticed, like while I was working on my book, I went and spent time with makers in different parts of the world, and from some of them, I participated in different making processes, and I did workshops in woodworking and welding, which were the most outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I definitely, like, the woodworking was 2 weeks of like all day and being like completely out of my element. And I mean, I was like in the bathroom crying, like I really started to kind of fall apart emotionally. And what I learned so much from that experience. I knew it was going to be hard for me. And people kept on saying, what does it matter? Like, you don't have to be good at woodworking. Why would you be good at it? But it was really learning how to be comfortable not knowing what I'm doing. Not feeling like I'm only acceptable if I'm excelling or, doing a great job. It's like, this is hard. It is especially hard for me, both the woodworking and the welding. It didn't come naturally to me in any way. And just being like, yeah, this is tough. And every time I'm in a situation like that, I noticed I have this tendency to feel like I'm like a 12-year-old girl in school being made embarrassed or being made fun of. And it's like, that is so in my head, because probably like all the other people around me, they're thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about me. And yet I have turned it into like this situation where I feel badly, like I'm not good enough, I'm not enough in any way.
Yeah.
And I realized that just being comfortable, like learning and not being good at something, or doing something and giving it your best shot and not feeling like you did the best job, and saying like, okay.
That's great. Thank you. Can't believe it's already been half an hour.
No, it's time.
It's amazing. Oh, such an inspiring talk, and really, what I hear that just give yourself a chance and don't be hard on yourself, and we are enough, and that the confidence in women is quite complex subject to talk about. But what I believe that if we support one another as women and believe in each other, that we can do it. And at the times that we feel like we're failing, and if we could just hold each other's hand, they are the times that we need to treasure and look out for each other. So it has been a great talk with you, Melanie. Thank you so much for being with us.
Okay.
I hope you enjoyed too.
Yes, absolutely. And I hope I'll get to visit you in your shop someday somehow.
I can't wait. I mean, I'll definitely come to New York for my 40th, not long left.
Okay. See you soon then.
Sorry?
I said, see you soon in New York.
Yes, very soon. Thank you so much, Melanie.
Thank you.
Great.